In one of the classes I took in seminary, our professor would ask us at the beginning of the day to name 5 things we noticed already that morning. Most of us were just happy to be able to keep our eyes open, but it was a way to make sure that we noticed whether we were really paying attention to life or not. So before we go any further, I want you to think about 3 things that you've noticed so far today. There's no quiz, so don't worry. Just 3 things that you've noticed. I will say, I called myself out earlier at the service. I noticed 3 things on the way, 2 things on the way here. Lots of cows and sheep, I think they were. I was surprised. I did not expect to see them. And one of my turns this morning looked different to me than it has in the past. So I'm curious to see next time I come why I felt that way. And the 3rd thing I noticed here, which many of you probably did not get to see, but Brian has on really cool shoes. So you want to take a moment and admire his shoes later. I invite you to do that. Our brains are wired to filter out whatever is habitual to us and instead often focus on what is new or different. This kind of thing happens all of the time, as Brian mentioned before. I personally notice it the most when I am driving here after the service at Tri-UU. Occasionally, I'll be paying more attention to some stretch for some reason, and some building or intersection will register in a way that hasn't before. And I find myself taking a minute to wonder if I've missed a turn or not. I tend to be more on the hypervigilant side, where I am always paying attention and taking in what is happening around me. So driving, at least when I know the way, is a time when my brain can rest. Heaven knows that living in this timeline, we all need times when our brains can rest. My whole life, I have been an attentive person. It's one of the reasons I think I made a good chaplain, paying attention to what people say and how they say it, the words they choose, the images they use, what they don't say. All of these are pieces of being a good listener. I would reflect back to the person what I heard and ask questions about what they said. Being a chaplain and a parish minister is in part being a mirror to people, as well as at times being a synthesizer and an accountability person. All of these facets require someone who is paying attention. And even being an attentive person, we can learn more practices and ways to be attentive. Some of you meditate, which is one practice. Maybe once in a while now you'll ask yourself to think about 3 to 5 things that you've noticed that day, as I still do more than 10 years later. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the practice of Lectio Divina, or sacred reading. Whew. I'm noticing I'm hot. Lectio Divina is an ancient Christian spiritual practice that is traditionally centered on scripture reading. The practice transforms a passage from literature to living, moving texts. We read a passage, pause, and reflect on whatever word, phrase, image caught our attention, what gave us goosebumps or struck our hearts, whatever sticks in our minds. And in the pause, we reflect on, wonder about, meditate on what about that thing that caught our attention so that we might understand what about it is speaking to us. Well, we're going to do it with poetry today. You can do it with anything, a passage of a book that you're reading or listening to, a podcast, a song, whatever. I have done this practice in worship with a handful of different poems, but today I'm going to use the opening words. For this time, you may want to settle into your seat, to close your eyes, if that's comfortable for you, to lower or soften your gaze. Try to relax your body, wiggle your toes or ankles a little if that's comfortable. Let your jaw relax. Let your tongue fall from the roof of your mouth. Relax your shoulders and take a few deep breaths if that's comfortable for you. Now I invite you to listen to what speaks for you or to you. After I finish the reading, we will pause for a moment in silence for you to reflect on what resonated before I use the bowl to bring us back into this space. We practiced being called. A call to worship is secretly a call to focus our attention. Choosing to focus our attention is countercultural. Daily, we are called to worship at the altar of many devices, surveillance systems we let take lead over our every waking moment. We are called by headlines set purely on our activation and by tools that gamify our every human connection. We are not called. We are led. We are not led. We are entrapped. Instead, here, we practice being called. We are called to bring our attention to the altar of unpredictable human relatedness. We are called by these ancestors, this wood, the room's particular light, this chalice's particular fire, and these people around us. We are called to focus all our attention on a foolhardy and open-hearted commitment to share a future together we cannot cancel nor control. In the words of the poet farmer Wendell Berry, we are called here today to do something that does not compute. Spirit of life, call our collective attention to this precise moment, the threshold between then and now, the moment upon which we hang our honest promises like portraits, chiseled and framed by our own hands, imperfectly and together. One of the things that I love about this exercise is how it invites us into deeper intimacy with the piece and with ourselves. I have used this practice many times myself, even with the same piece, knowing, working my way through it as I get to know it better and what strikes me over time. The practice also invites us to slow down and savor what our minds are consuming, like we might do as we're eating or drinking something wonderful. Slowing down invites us to be present and attentive to what we're experiencing. Pico Iyer has said that although we live our lives in the outer world, we understand them through the inner. So one more time, followed again by a moment of silence. We practice being called. A call to worship is secretly a call to focus our attention. Choosing to focus our attention is countercultural. Daily, we are called to worship at the altar of many devices, surveillance systems we let take lead over our every waking moment. We are called by headlines set purely on our activation and by tools that gamify our every human connection. We are not called, we are led. We are not led, we are entrapped. Instead, here, we practice being called. We are called to bring our attention to the altar of unpredictable human relatedness. We are called by these ancestors, this wood, this room's particular light, this chalice's particular fire, and these people around us. We are called to focus all our attention on a foolhardy and open-hearted commitment to share a future together we cannot cancel nor control. In the words of the poet-farmer Wendell Berry, we are called here today to do something that does not compute. Spirit of life, call our collective attention to this precise moment, the threshold between then and now, the moment upon which we hang our honest promises like portraits, chiseled and framed by our own hands, imperfectly and together. Even if this practice isn't your new favorite, I hope it reminds you to slow down and appreciate the moment and all the wonderful things we have to experience, even in these times. May we all be finding ways to savor the goodness, because no matter what the news or social media or our friends or family might tell us, there is so much goodness in this world. May we be willing to be open to new revelations. May we embrace opportunities to pay attention to ourselves and those around us. May all this bring us gratitude, generosity, compassion, and hope. If you would please rise and lift your voice in song with me for our closing hymn, Wake Now My Senses.